Meaning of the term medieval. The history of the world can be divided into three broad periods, namely ancient, medieval and modern. Each of these periods covers many centuries, and the length of a period may differ from one part of the world to another. For example, the medieval period began around the 5th century CE in Europe, but around 8th century CE in India. The medieval period in India covers roughly 1100 years. The time frame of medieval period is taken as 700 to 1800 CE. Medieval period in India. Major political developments. The medieval period in India can be broadly divided into two phases, the early medieval period and the later medieval period. The history of the early medieval period is centered on power struggles among regional kingdoms of both North and South India. The most prominent among these kingdoms were Rajputs, Palas, Pratiharas, Rashtrakutas and Cholas. The distinctive cultural characteristics of the regional kingdoms spread to the new regions that came under them. In the later medieval period, there were a number of invasions by Muslim conquerors from Central Asia. Among the invaders were Turks, Afghans and the Mughals. The defeat of the Rajputs at the hand of Muhammad Ghori brought India under the rule of slave dynasty. After the fall of slave dynasty, the Khilji, Tughlaqs and Lodhis came to power. The combined period of these dynasties is known as Delhi Sultanate. The luster of Sultanate soon faded away when Babur founded the Mughal Empire. His grandson, Akbar, extended his empire over the whole of North India and parts of the south. He was followed by Jahangir, Shah Jahan and Aurangzeb. The Mughal Empire declined sharply after the death of Aurangzeb. The successors of Aurangzeb were weak and incompetent rulers. Thus, provincial governors asserted their independence and established regional kingdoms. Medieval period in Europe. In the history of Europe, the Middle Ages or medieval period lasted from the 5th to the 15th century. It began with the fall of the Western Roman Empire and merged into the Renaissance and the Age of Discovery. The Middle Ages is the middle period of the three traditional divisions of Western history, classical antiquity, the medieval period, and the modern period. The medieval period is itself subdivided into the early, high, and late Middle Ages. Population decline, counter-urbanization, invasion, and movement of peoples, which had begun in late antiquity, continued in the early Middle Ages. The large-scale movements of the migration period, including various Germanic peoples, formed new kingdoms in what remained of the Western Roman Empire. In the 7th century, North Africa and the Middle East, once part of the Byzantine Empire, came under the rule of Umayyad Caliphate, an Islamic empire, after conquest by Muhammad's successors. During the High Middle Ages, which began after 1000, the population of Europe increased greatly as technological and agricultural innovations allowed trade to flourish, and the medieval warm period climate change allowed crop yields to increase. The late Middle Ages was marked by difficulties and calamities including famine, plague and war, which significantly diminished the population of Europe between 1347 and 1350. The Black Death killed about a third of Europeans. Controversy, heresy and the Western Schism within the Catholic Church paralleled the interstate conflict, civil strife and peasant revolts that occurred in the kingdoms. cultural and technological developments transformed European society, historians and their sources. Historians use different types of sources to learn about the past depending upon the period of their study and the nature of their investigation. You will notice some continuity in the sources used by historians for the study of this period. They still rely on coins, inscriptions, architecture, and textual records for information. The number and variety of textual record increased dramatically during this period. They slowly displaced other types of available information. Through this period, paper gradually became cheaper and more widely available. People used it to write holy texts, chronicles of rulers, teachings by saints, etc. Archaeology focuses on the study of physical remains and the methods used on recovering them. Archaeological evidences include buildings, inscriptions, paintings, and coins. Socio-political circumstances. Roman government practiced accepting that all religious beliefs, philosophical teachings, and government systems are a reflection of a larger system, the Roman system. This meant religious and political freedom for all people, yet maintained strict control. Jews held distrust and hatred for the Roman Empire. King Herod initiated a massacre of all Jewish baby boys and was responsible for placing forbidden idols within the Jewish temple, Mount II. Herod the Great was born in 73 BCE. Herod gets Mark Antony and Octavian's future Augustus Caesar support to have Roman Senate appoint Herod king of Palestine in 37 BCE. He ruled until 4 BCE. The Jews accepted their freedom yet were ultimately subject to Roman authority. For example, Jewish citizens were under the authority of the Jewish court system, the Sanhedrin. Yet all rulings for the death penalty were sent to the Roman government. Herod was a very powerful and cruel man. He ordered that a large group of Jews be killed upon his death, so that even if people did not mourn for his own death, they would mourn at his death. However, his order was not carried out.